Hello everybody, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening depending on where you are in this amazing world. My name is Donovan Jolly and welcome everybody once again for another amazing video of DIY investing. I wanted to end this week off strong by going over some XRP analysis. XRP has been one of my favorite cryptocurrency investments over the last few months because I strongly believe in the long-term prospect of this crypto going forward. A lot of people hate on this. I think the XRP is most commonly the most hated crypto out there because oftentimes people associate it with a banker's coin. But we got to remember who runs the entire world financial systems. Banks do. So why wouldn't you be investing into XRP? I've got some amazing things that we're going to talk about today. I'm going to go over a couple different fractals, and then we're going to be looking at where we are today and how it stacks up by the end of the year. Are we going to be breaking out this year and going into new all-time highs? Or are we just barely going to be starting the first uptrend as we venture closer to all-time highs again? For me personally, XRP is going to be one of the biggest performing cryptocurrencies, and the people investing into this are going to make so much money it'll make your head spin. Make sure that you guys aren't getting shaken out because I promise you that once you guys analyze all of these fractals with me, you're going to know exactly what is going to happen over the next couple years. So make sure you guys stay all the way to the end of this video. You're not going to want to miss out on any of this exciting information that I'm going to share with you guys today. I know the XRP community is one of the most die-hard communities out there, so make sure you guys show some support of this video by smashing that like button, hit that subscribe button as well, and make sure you guys click that notification bell too so you don't miss out on any new videos like the one provided for you here. If you're looking to join an amazing Discord community, I have a server with over 4,000 members and it's growing so fast, so make sure you guys join by clicking in the description of this video, and there you're going to find the invitation link. Now, on my Discord server, I also offer some of my more exclusive content like the video course and signals, so if you want to actually educate yourself on how to be a profitable analyst inside of this market, the video course is definitely going to be the resource for you. I'm going to give you guys all of my exact strategies and setups so you guys can actually copy them and then actually start profiting alongside with me. Now, the signals are a way for you guys to copy all of my long-term portfolio. You'll know exactly what I've allocated to what investment with exactly how much percentage of each. And I'm also going to be creating a scaling out plan for taking profits. And so you guys can find all of my short-term trades, all of my long-term trades, and any trade that I'm taking over this next cycle. So make sure you guys join the Discord by clicking below. Once you guys have access, shoot me a message and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. But with all that being said, guys, we got a lot of really cool charts today, and I know that you guys are going to be so excited after this video. So let's quit messing around and jump right into this. Alrighty guys, here we are taking a look at XRP. Now, I wanted to go over the old original fractal because I think a lot of people have kind of wrote this off at this point. You guys have been seeing me talk a lot about the silver comparison of XRP, and I wanted to go over this one today because I think that this one is still very valid, and even though we haven't mooned yet, it doesn't write off this scenario by any means. Now, this is what I've been updating you guys with significantly over the last couple months. It's just been this overall fractal. Really, what we have here is a fractal of the last market cycle in XRP before we shot off into new all-time highs, and that's what we're just doing once again. And overall, it's the exact same pattern here, and it makes me super excited because, you know, guys, XRP has been one of the best performing cryptocurrencies. It's not just going to stop anytime soon, especially if all of the altcoins are about to go crazy again into this next bull run. You know, XRP is going to lead the market, and it's going to be one of those best performing alts. Obviously, you won't make as much ROI percentage-wise as if you would have invested into maybe a low to mid-cap coin. But the thing about XRP is it's going to be consistent, it's going to outperform, it's going to outpace, and you're going to risk the least amount of money doing so. And so, in my opinion, that's better, that's safer. You know, a lot of people are going to blow out accounts from trying to find these low cap gems. They're going to invest a bunch, and they'll probably make a bunch in the bull run. But, you know, a lot of times people don't take profits. A lot of times people get greedy, and then they end up losing it all back to the market. And that's just kind of the way it works. And so for me, you know, these cryptocurrencies that are going to perform more, they're going to maintain a positive uptrend, and they're going to continue on in their cycles. Those are the ones that I'm going to put faith in. Even if I don't make as much of an ROI, I'm still going to be making life-changing wealth regardless. And so it really doesn't matter. Now, through the cycles, we have these 3 impulse waves, and then this is what starts the bear market decline. You know, once we actually break out of that bear market, which is the break of this descending resistance here. Once we break that, we end up falling to one more low, and that's what really sets the spring before we break off and go into new all-time highs. And I've always thought that this was a really interesting comparison because it lines up so identically here. I mean, you want to see exactly what we saw here. When you break out from this descending resistance, you want a lot of new volume that comes in. That's exactly what we saw. This volume that came in was way bigger than any of the previous volume. And then we end up selling for just one more low. We come down to retest that previous descending resistance as support, and then we go off into new all-time highs. And this is the exact same thing that's happening today. We had this descending resistance. We broke out over here. When we broke out, we had a nice volume outbreak. Obviously, we've had more volume come in recently, but you can't ignore the fact that there is new volume that's coming into this market. And we did the exact same thing. We broke out, and then we fell back down to retest this previous descending resistance as support. The only real difference here is the fact that we've actually retested this descending resistance a few different times. About 3 or 4 different times here. And we still have yet to break out. But the good news is, guys, we are still on the outside of this descending resistance. Had we have fallen back down in here, I would have started to get pretty bearish. And honestly, guys, if we start to sell below this descending resistance and we get back below this here, then that's going to set us up for a pretty big drop, in my opinion. I don't think that we're going to sell through it. There's a reason why we've bounced off it so many times. It's an area of high demand. Therefore, I expect that to actually continue to play out. Now, what we have currently forming and what it reminds me of is if we actually drop this to a shorter time frame, we're going to be able to see it a little bit better. Now, if we go back to the last cycle, right before we broke out, we had this very similar pattern, and it's almost identical here. When we broke out, we make this triple top type pattern with W, whatever the heck you want to call it, rising wedge, and basically we make this W, and then this is what takes us into that final sell-off. And right here, if you'll notice, we got a lot of volatility. We had these lows and we had these pullbacks, and then we just started chopping around before finally we sold off into our final low there. But this market consolidation that we saw right in this area looks very similar to the stuff that we've been seeing over the last month or two. And it reminds me a lot of kind of right here. The same sort of volatile price action. Now, obviously, it's going to be a little bit different, but overall, it's very, very similar, where we get these swings, we get this choppy action. You know, we're bouncing, we're selling off into new lows, we're bouncing straight back up to retag resistance. And so this, to me, looks very similar as the same consolidation that we had back in the year of 2017. And really, guys, we just finished that last sell-off. And this is a really good thing to see. The thing is, guys, we saw this bounce straight back into resistance, and then we sold off really strongly. And this is really what we want to see at the terminal end of a correction. And what makes me very confident is the fact that we did manage to end up retesting all of that previous support of 2017. Well, most of it anyways. We didn't go clear down in here, but we did manage to retest that previous consolidation, this triangle, before we broke off any all-time highs. We've retested all of that. And I managed to buy some at about 14 cents, so I bought really close to that bottom. It was a really good entry price, and I'm thankful for that. But now that we're seeing this, it looks like we're getting some strong buyback ensuing. Obviously, we've just about erased the entire drop that we saw from all of this panic recently. And what recently happened was we actually reclaimed this resistance, and it's now acting as support. So we had our impulse, we broke back above this level, we came back down to retest it, and we're now breaking back up again. And so in my opinion, guys, I think that we have a real solid chance of running back up to, about 24 cents. If this really is a conformed support and resistance flip, it's going to create a big impulse, and I really wouldn't be surprised if this takes us clear up to here. After that point, we could start to sell off. There's always the possibility that we could go even higher, and we could tag upwards of this resistance here at, 30 to 33 cents. And, that's kind of the things that I'm going to be watching out for. Realistically, to me, we just have to see where this bottom is going to take place. The fact that we got such a strong sell-off, it took us to the lows of this 2017 consolidation. I think that that's a very bullish sign. And the fact that we've actually reclaimed this previous lower high as support makes me very confident that we're going to see a decent impulse coming very soon. Now, this is what takes me to the next part. I want to talk about this chart right here. This black one is the last cycle, and this current one up at the top is the current cycle, obviously. Now, obviously, we've bounced up a little bit further from when I made this chart, but it still stays the same. If we analyze the last fractal, we're going to see that this is following identically. And so these are my reasons for why I don't think that we should be bearish in this time. If we're seeing the last cycles playing out identically to the one that we're currently seeing, why would it just fail to play out again? It doesn't make sense. There's more catalyst for there to be a bull run right in this time than there ever has been, and so I'm going to continue to hold that bias. But let's go through here and actually analyze the fractal. Now, we get the blow off top, and then we start to sell off. This is our first lower high, takes us to our short-term support. This would be 2 into the 3. We get a bounce. And this is the part that's really identical. After the 3, we sell off to go down and retest the previous support of the 2. And this is where we end up with 4, 5, and 6. And if we come down here, we're going to see the exact same pattern. And whoever tries to argue against this, I will never agree with them. I don't think that there's any way you could convince me otherwise, because this is the exact same pattern. The 4 looks the same. The 5 looks the same. The 6 looks the same. And then the 7 looks exactly the same. We get that same pattern, that W formation. It's the exact same thing on both charts. And then we sell off. And so for me, guys, this 7, 8, and 9 region right here looks very similar. The only real difference is this 9 went for a lower low after the 8, where it didn't really do that here. And so there is going to be some differences. These aren't meant to be exact. They're just meant to be kind of a footnote for us to follow off of. But the thing is, guys, we're seeing it identical to the last cycle. There's very, very, very little difference here. And so, you know, I'm going to continue to stick to that bias because it just doesn't make sense. I don't think that you guys could oppose me in any sort of way that would be more contradictory towards my actual trading plan. I don't think that you guys could actually convince me to change it, because there's just so much more backing the fact that we're about to have this bull run. Which takes us to the final chart of the day. Wanted to quickly talk about this before we wrap things up. This is the silver chart, and this black one is the total price for XRP over this last cycle. And we can see here, guys, that it's really 100% the same chart. Very, very few differences. Basically, what we get is this build-up period. This is really where the market starts to go parabolic. This was that 2017 consolidation range, and it's the exact same thing that happened inside of XRP. You know, we end up breaking out, going parabolic, super, super parabolic, and then we start the crash back down. And this is where it gets super interesting because of just how identical the two really follow each other. We get the exact same correlations here. Short-term support, we get rejected, fall to new lows, get rejected again, another new lows, get rejected again. We kind of round out, and this is where we make our first short-term bottom, or at least silver did. Now, the thing about XRP is it's been a little bit more volatile, whereas silver never broke below this point right here. XRP did manage to make some lower lows, and so obviously there's going to be some differences here. The thing is, guys, I'm still very bullish on XRP. If the market structure is so similar to the silver cycle, you know, even if there is a little bit of a variance, you got to understand that that's how market cycles work. You're not always going to find an exactly correlated asset. The fact that we're already seeing these as correlated as they are is mind-blowing, because you just don't see this often. You know, obviously there's correlations between markets, but this correlation is so much bigger than anything that we've seen in conventional markets, that there is a big reason we need to be paying attention for this. You know, we get the same pattern after we find these lows. We break up, we get rejected again, and then this is really where silver itself never broke below this low or this low, whereas XRP has kind of dropped a little bit lower, just one more low. But the fact is, guys, if it's following this closely to the last cycle, on top of that, we have an identical fractal comparison between the silver cycle. And then on top of that, if we just zoom out and take a look at, you know, the previous cycle and the current cycle, you guys, it's obvious what's happening right now. And I know that you guys catch my drift because this is XRP community, and XRP community is die-hard. They've been noticing these patterns playing out for a while now, and that's why we've maintained our long-term bullish stance. Now, it's not the charts that make us an XRP investor. It's the fundamentals and the belief that we have that this is going to be a good asset moving forward, which in history, it's proven that it is. It's been one of the best performing altcoins in all of history for cryptocurrency. It's been top 3 throughout its history, you know, ever since way back in here. And, you know, it's held its support rather well. Even though this bear market's been pretty brutal, even though we've seen it decline like 96%, I didn't even know for certain, 96% down from all-time high, that's just a good buying opportunity. And a lot of people try and shake you out. A lot of people tell you, oh, XRP or Ripples, they're dumping on you. They're, you know, it's a scam. It's inflated. It was pre-mined, yada, yada, all of the excuses. But the thing is, guys, we actually know what's going on. We know that this is a good investment. We are looking at what has happened throughout history, and, you know, we're seeing all of these correlations. We're going to make a lot of money in the process, so just make sure that you guys aren't getting shaken out. Make sure that we're holding true to our beliefs, our core values of what makes us a long-term investor in XRP. And obviously, my long-term is going to be different from your long-term. I'm only going to be holding this one for till the end of 2021 approximately, give or take some months. But that's overall my plan, and I know a lot of you guys are going to be holding for longer than that. just make sure you take profits. Even if you're holding long term, take some profits. You're just going to hurt yourself by not doing so. These markets go up a lot, but they go down just as quick. So make sure you're locking that away and guaranteeing that you've got more cash to deploy on the rest of the cycles moving forward. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Join the Discord server. It's totally free. On the Discord, I also offer my exclusive content. Message me to get more info on that. And yeah, guys, I'll see you guys in the next video. As always, peace out.